In the cold darkness of deep space, thousands of alien listening stations floated quietly between the stars. Their job was simple: to listen. They picked up signals, radio waves, whispers from distant worlds. Most days there was nothing unusual, just the soft hum of cosmic noise. But one night, something strange echoed through the silence. A cry. It wasn't mechanical or coded like a distress call. It sounded alive. A soft, trembling voice, a child's cry. It repeated every few hours, stretching across the stars like a haunting melody. Technicians from dozens of species heard it. Some said it was a trick of the sensors. Others thought it was a trap, perhaps a weapon disguised as a voice. The Galactic Council sent a warning: do not respond to the signal. Do not approach its source. It could be dangerous. But one man couldn't ignore it. Captain Elias Vorn, commander of the human ship Dauntless, sat alone in the observation deck. The stars shimmered before him, endless and silent, but the sound of that child's cry filled his thoughts. He listened to the recording again. The voice was soft, frightened, echoing with pain. "Someone out there needs help," Elias said quietly. His first officer, Rin Talek, an alien from the Varn species, turned to him with worry. "Captain, the Council has ordered us to stay away. This could be bait, a signal from pirates or worse." Elias nodded, but his eyes didn't move from the star map. "Maybe it is. But what if it isn't? What if it's a real child?" Rin sighed. "You humans always think with your hearts." Elias smiled faintly. "That's what makes us human." He ordered the crew to triangulate the signal source. It was faint, bouncing across several systems, but it seemed to come from a quiet, uncharted region near the edge of known space. The computers struggled to pinpoint it, as if something was trying to hide the signal. The crew worked in silence. The ship's engines hummed softly. Every now and then the cry played again, a sound so sad and lonely that even the toughest soldiers paused to listen. Finally the navigator turned. "Captain, we found it. Sector 9 Kelra. No records, no colonies. Just empty space." Elias stared at the screen. "Plot a course." The room went silent. Everyone knew what that meant: direct disobedience to the Galactic Council. Rin stepped closer. "Captain, if we go there, we'll be labeled as deserters." Elias looked at him, his voice calm but firm. "Then we'll be deserters who saved a life." Hours later, Dauntless slipped into warp, leaving the safety of patrol routes behind. The stars stretched into long silver lines as the ship dove into the unknown. Inside, the crew worked in tense silence. Every few hours the cry echoed again, louder now, clearer. It wasn't random. There was rhythm, like words hidden behind the sobs. Elias sat in the command chair, listening carefully. His heart tightened. The voice sounded too real. Then suddenly the cry stopped. The silence that followed felt heavy, unnatural. Even the hum of the engine seemed quieter. "Signal lost?" Elias asked. The communications officer nodded nervously. "Yes, sir. It just vanished." Rin frowned. "Maybe it noticed us. Or maybe—" Before he could finish, the speakers came alive with static. The crew froze. A soft voice, trembling and weak, broke through the noise. "Help." It was a single word. Clear. Perfect English. The entire command deck went silent. Every alien, every human stared at the speakers. Elias rose slowly from his chair. His heartbeat thundered in his ears. "Replay that," he said quietly. The sound repeated. "Help." It was a child's voice, young, scared, and speaking a human word that no alien could pronounce so perfectly. Rin's skin turned pale blue, the color of fear in his species. "That's impossible. No alien child could form human words like that." Elias's jaw tightened. "Unless someone taught her." The comms officer turned to him, whispering, "Sir, what do we do?" Elias looked out the window at the dark sea of stars. He could feel something beyond them, something watching, waiting. The air inside the ship felt colder now. He took a slow breath. "We follow it," he said finally. Rin shook his head. "Captain, this is madness. If this is a trap—" "Then it's the smartest trap I've ever seen," Elias interrupted. "Because it's working. I'm not leaving a child to die out there." He walked to the control panel and set the coordinates manually. The engines roared softly as Dauntless changed course toward the signal's last known location. No one spoke. Every crew member felt a strange mix of fear and curiosity. The child's cry had touched something inside them, something ancient and human. The ship drifted deeper into the void. Stars grew thinner. The light faded. Then, just before entering the new sector, the signal came again, but this time it wasn't a cry. It was laughter. Soft, broken laughter that turned into static. The crew froze. Rin whispered, "Captain, that wasn't the same child." Elias didn't reply. His eyes were fixed on the stars ahead, now darker than before. Something was waiting for them out there. Something that had learned to cry. He whispered under his breath, "Whatever you are, we're coming." The human ship Dauntless glided silently through the void. The stars around it were dim now, scattered like dying embers. Every sensor showed nothing unusual, yet the crew could feel something out there, a presence unseen but heavy. Captain Elias Vorn stood at the main window, his eyes locked on the black stretch of space ahead. He had disobeyed the Galactic Council, ignored the warnings of alien fleets, and crossed into a region where no living being dared to go. And all for a voice, a child's cry that whispered help in perfect English. The ship's AI broke the silence. "Captain, we have entered the uncharted coordinates. All external signals are faint. Communication with nearby networks has failed." Elias nodded. "Keep scanning. There's something here." Beside him, Rin Talek, his first officer, looked tense. "Captain, even the Council fleets avoid this area. My people call it the Silent Veil. Ships vanish here. We shouldn't stay long." Elias didn't answer. He was watching the radar screen. Static rippled across the display, then a faint blip appeared. "Small. Unmoving. Life form detected," the AI reported. The room filled with tension. The crew exchanged nervous looks. Elias leaned forward. "Distance? 0.01 light-years. Object size, approximately the size of an escape pod." Rin's voice trembled. "A pod? Out here?" Elias gave a sharp order. "Bring us closer." Carefully. The Dauntless moved forward, engines whispering. As the pod came into view, the lights on the bridge dimmed automatically. It drifted in space, spinning slowly, its hull scratched and blackened. Faded markings covered one side, alien symbols no one recognized. The AI zoomed in. Hull damage consistent with extreme radiation exposure. Energy readings faint but present. One life sign detected inside. Elias's chest tightened. "Alive." "Barely," the AI replied. He turned to Rin. "Get a recovery team ready. I want that pod brought aboard." Rin hesitated. "Captain, if this is a trap." Elias met his gaze. "Then we'll deal with it. But if that's really a child in there, I'm not leaving her to die." Minutes later, the pod was pulled into the ship's cargo bay. The crew gathered around as engineers carefully cut the hatch open. Steam and cold air hissed out, filling the room with a chilling mist. Inside lay a small figure, an alien child no more than 8 years old, her skin pale silver and her hair thin and white. She was breathing but weakly. A soft gasp escaped the crew. No one spoke. Elias stepped closer. "Easy, get her to the med bay." The medic nodded and lifted the girl gently. Her eyes flickered open for just a second. She looked at Elias, her lips trembling. Then in a faint voice she whispered one word, "Human?" The crew froze. Rin's heart skipped a beat. Did she just say? Elias nodded slowly. Yes, she did. In the medical bay the child was placed under stasis light. Machines beeped softly as they repaired her injuries. Her small hand twitched from time to time, reaching for something unseen. Elias watched through the glass. "How is she?" The medic sighed. "Stable for now. Whatever she went through, it nearly killed her. I've never seen DNA like this before. She's alien, but there's something strange in her genetic code. Almost familiar." "Familiar how?" Elias asked. The medic hesitated. "Some parts match human sequence patterns." Elias frowned. "That shouldn't be possible." Rin entered quietly behind him. "Captain, I've checked the council records. No species matches her biology. And the symbols on that pod, they belong to a civilization thought to be extinct for over 3,000 years. Elias turned. "Extinct?" "Yes, the Arini. They were one of the first interstellar races. They disappeared long before humans even left their solar system." Elias stared at the glass window where the child slept. "Then how is she alive?" Rin didn't answer. Neither of them knew. A few hours later, Elias sat alone in the med bay. The lights were dim, the air quiet. He leaned forward, studying the small girl behind the glass. Suddenly her eyes opened. Bright silver eyes, glowing faintly in the dark. Elias stood startled. The girl's gaze locked onto him. She looked scared but curious. Slowly, she raised her hand and pressed it against the glass. Elias did the same. Her lips moved silently at first, then she whispered, "You came back." Elias blinked. Back. She nodded weakly. They said humans were gone. He stepped closer. Who said that? But before she could answer, the lights flickered. The ship trembled slightly. Rin's voice came over the comms. Captain, something's happening. Power is dropping across all decks. Elias rushed to the bridge. The crew was already at their stations, alarm lights flashing. What's going on? He demanded. Unknown energy surge, the AI reported. Origin, external. The radar showed nothing. Just black space. Yet something felt wrong. The stars outside seemed to flicker like reflections on moving water. Then, out of the darkness, a shape passed by, massive, silent, and invisible to sensors. The lights dimmed again as every instrument went haywire. Rin's voice trembled. Captain, there's something out there. The crew stared through the viewing window. For a moment they saw nothing. Then, just barely visible against the starlight, a shadow moved. It was enormous, stretching farther than their eyes could follow, a dark shape gliding through space like a ghost. The AI whispered, I am detecting an absence. Something is blocking all signals, but it's not matter. It's like space itself is folding. Elias's voice was calm, but his heart pounded. Full alert. Shields up. The moment he said it, the child's voice came through the ship's speakers. Don't let it see us. Everyone froze. Elias looked at the comms officer. Who patched that in? The officer's hands shook. And no one, sir. The girl's not even connected to the system. The voice repeated, softer this time, frightened. Don't let it see us. Please. Outside, the massive shadow drifted closer, blotting out the stars completely. The air inside the ship seemed heavier, colder. Elias whispered, What is that thing? Rin shook his head. Maybe it's what killed her people. The child's voice came again, this time directly into Elias's mind. It follows the cry. It hunts the ones who answer. Elias froze. He realized now what she meant. The signal, the cry, wasn't just a call for help. It was bait. And by answering it, they had been found. For a long, tense moment, no one spoke. The ship floated quietly in the dark. Then, just as suddenly as it appeared, the shadow vanished. The stars returned. Rin exhaled slowly. It's gone? But Elias didn't relax. He turned to the crew. No. It's not gone. It's watching. He looked toward the med bay where the little alien girl lay trembling. Her eyes glowed faintly, staring into the dark as if she could still see the shadow. In a whisper only she could hear, she said again, Don't let it see us. The alien child lay quietly in the med bay. The lights above her bed glowed softly, and machines hummed around her. But even with all the calm sounds of healing equipment, the air inside the Dauntless felt heavy. Something unseen still lingered outside the ship, a silent presence that made every heartbeat louder. Captain Elias Vorn hadn't slept. He stood by the window, staring into the endless black of space. The image of that huge, shadowy shape haunted his thoughts. Whatever that thing was, it had watched them, and then disappeared without a trace. The child's warning repeated in his mind. It follows the cry. It hunts the ones who answer. Elias turned when he heard a voice behind him. Captain, said Rintalek, his first officer. The alien's blue eyes were sharp but full of worry. The crew is restless. No one can explain what we saw. Even the AI's data is corrupted. Whatever passed us by, it erased its own trail. Elias rubbed his chin. Then it doesn't want to be known. Rin nodded. Or it wants us afraid. Before Elias could respond, a soft chime echoed through the room. The medic's voice came through the intercom. Captain, the girl is awake. She's asking for you. Elias walked quickly to the med bay. The child sat up, her eyes glowing faintly silver under the blue lights. Thin tubes ran from her arms to the machines, but she looked stronger now, alert, almost curious. She turned her gaze toward him and smiled weakly. You came back, she whispered. Elias sat beside her bed. Back? What do you mean? She tilted her head as if searching for words. My people, they said humans would return. That one day they'd hear the cry. Elias frowned. You know what a human is? The girl nodded. Yes. They told us stories. Rin entered quietly, his expression serious. Who told you those stories, child? The girl looked away for a moment as if remembering something painful. My name is Lyra, she said softly. And the ones who told me are all gone. Hours passed. Elias sat with Lyra, listening as she spoke in her slow, gentle voice. Her story came out in fragments, pieces of memory mixed with fear. My people lived on a world called Elisar, far beyond the edge of your maps. Long ago the stars were full of voices. The Irene built cities of light. We believed we were safe. She paused, her eyes distant. Then the dark star came. Rin leaned forward. The shadow we saw? Lyra nodded slowly. It isn't a ship. It's older than stars. It feeds on sound, on hope. It follows sorrow. My people made the cry to call for help before it found us. But it was already too late. Her hands trembled as she spoke. The dark star took everything. My parents placed me in the pod before it reached the capital. They told me to wait, and to send the cry again and again, until someone heard. Elias's throat tightened. The weight of her words hung heavy in the air. He whispered, "You've been alone all this time." Lyra nodded. "So long? I forgot what sleep feels like." Rin looked at Elias. "Captain," she said, "her people created that signal. Maybe it's still transmitting from somewhere. If we trace it again we might find the source." Elias hesitated. "Or the thing that's hunting it." Lyra's eyes widened. "You can't go there. The dark star will follow. It always follows." Elias stood, determination in his eyes. "If that thing destroyed your people, then it won't stop. It'll find others. Maybe us next. We need to understand what it wants." Lyra shook her head fiercely. "You don't understand. It doesn't want. It consumes." Her voice broke into a whisper. "It feeds on voices that care." The room went silent. Only the soft beeping of machines filled the air. Later that night, the Dauntless drifted quietly through space. Most of the crew had gone to rest, but Elias sat in the command chair, thinking. On the main screen, the coordinates of Lyra's home world blinked in red, unreachable, deep beyond the known systems. "AI," he said softly. "Replay the original cry." The speakers came alive with static, then the soft, trembling sound of Lyra's recorded voice filled the bridge. The same haunting cry that started it all. But as the sound played, Elias noticed something strange. There was another layer beneath the cry, a faint, rhythmic pattern. "AI," he ordered, "filter the background noise." The ship obeyed. The cry faded, replaced by a repeating hum. Then the hum shifted. It wasn't noise. It was a code. Letters appeared on the screen, ancient symbols flashing in sequence. Rin entered, drawn by the sound. "What is that?" Elias squinted. "I think it's coordinates. But not to Elisar, to something closer." The AI confirmed. "New signal origin detected. Source located 0.8 light-years away, near a debris field." Rin hesitated. "Captain, you're not thinking." "I am," Elias said firmly. "If there's another beacon, it might tell us what happened to her people. Maybe even how to stop that thing." Lyra's voice echoed from behind them. She stood at the doorway, pale and shaking but awake. "If you go there, it will wake up." Elias met her eyes. "It already has." The Dauntless changed course. The engines flared softly as the ship glided toward the debris field. Outside, the stars grew dimmer again as if light itself feared to follow them. The debris appeared like floating bones of dead ships, shattered hulls, burnt metal, frozen in silence. Rin looked at the radar. No signs of life. No energy readings. Elias frowned. "Then what's transmitting?" Suddenly the lights flickered. The child's cry echoed again, louder this time, but coming from inside the ship. Rin jumped. "Where is that coming from?" The AI's voice trembled slightly. "Unknown. The source is not external." Elias's eyes widened. "Say that again." "The signal is coming from inside the Dauntless." The crew froze. The air seemed to grow colder. Elias looked at Lyra. She stood still, eyes wide, tears beginning to form. "It's here," she whispered. "It found us." The ship's lights dimmed completely for a heartbeat, plunging them into darkness. A deep vibration echoed through the hull, like a slow, heavy breath. Every monitor flickered to life, and on every screen appeared a blurry image of a child's face, crying. But the face wasn't Lyra's. Rin shouted, "Power down the comms." Elias's voice cut through the noise. "No, trace it first." The AI processed frantically. "Signal origin, unknown. It appears to be duplicating ship systems." Elias turned sharply toward Lyra. "What does it want?" Her voice broke as she whispered, "It doesn't want you dead, it wants you to listen." The sound of the cry deepened, twisting into something colder, not sadness but hunger. Elias stared at the screens as the crying face shifted into something else, a dark star, pulsing with faint red light. The sound of the cry became words, faint but clear. "You heard the cry, Now it hears you. The lights went out completely. For a long second, there was only silence. Then the ship's systems rebooted, the image vanished, and everything seemed normal again. Rin looked shaken. What was that? Elias stood slowly, his face pale but steady. It's a message, he said softly. A warning or a challenge. Lyra held his arm, her voice trembling. It never lets go once you answer. You should have ignored me. Elias looked down at her, then out at the stars. That's not who humans are. But deep down he wondered if answering that cry had just doomed them all. The rescue bay was silent except for the soft breathing of the alien child. Her small chest rose and fell under a blanket. The human crew of the Resolute watched her through the glass wall, unsure what to do next. Captain Elias Vorn stood closest, his arms crossed, eyes filled with questions. She looked peaceful now, but only hours ago, that same child had sent a cry that echoed across the stars. Dr. Lena Ray, the ship's medic, adjusted the scanner over the child's head. She's stable, Lena said softly. But her DNA, it's strange. Part alien. And part, she hesitated, her eyes wide. Part human, Elias finished quietly. Lena nodded. Yes, it's mixed. I don't know how that's possible. The crew fell silent. It was a truth that broke every known law of biology and every rule of interspecies contact. Suddenly the ship's lights flickered. A low hum filled the deck. Commander Hayes looked up at the ceiling. Captain, something's coming through the comms again. They all turned to the console. The sound returned, static, then a voice. It was older this time. Cold. Metallic. Return the subject, the voice ordered. She belongs to us. The room went cold. Lena's hand shook. Who is that? Elias stepped forward, his tone hard. This is Captain Elias Vorn of the human ship Resolute. Identify yourself. The voice didn't answer. Instead, a string of alien symbols appeared across the screen, codes no one recognized. Then a final message came through. She carries the key to our extinction. Do not interfere. The transmission cut. Elias turned to his crew. We need answers. Lena, run every scan possible. Hayes, trace that signal. I want to know who they are. Hayes nodded and hurried to his station. Already on it, sir. Lena looked uneasy. If they want her back, Captain, maybe it's too dangerous to keep her. Elias looked through the glass at the child. She was awake now, sitting up, her large eyes glowing faintly blue. When she saw him, she tilted her head, like she remembered him. Then, in a soft trembling voice, she said, You came. Elias froze. You can understand me? The child nodded. You heard my cry. They said, no one would come. Who are they? Elias asked gently. Her lips trembled. The ones who made me. Hayes interrupted from the console. Captain, I found the signal origin. It's coming from deep inside the Veil sector. No colonies, no stations. Just black space. Elias frowned. That's the same region where we found her. Yes, sir. But here's the thing, it's not a single signal. It's hundreds of transmitters forming a network. It's like they're watching us. Lena whispered, then they already know where she is. The child looked down, clutching the blanket. They'll come. They always come back. Elias knelt beside the glass, his voice calm. Not this time. You're safe here. But even as he said it, he wasn't sure it was true. Hours later, the Resolute drifted in the quiet of space. The crew kept silent watch, systems on high alert. The child slept again, but her presence filled the air with unease. Elias stood in the command deck, staring at the stars. His thoughts spun like the ship's engines. Why would someone mix human and alien DNA? And how did she know the word, help? Hayes approached quietly. Sir, I decoded part of the alien symbols. It's disturbing. Elias turned. Go on. The message wasn't just a warning, Hayes said. It was a command signal. It's transmitting to other ships, big ones. They're coming this way. Elias clenched his jaw. How long until they reach us? Maybe 6 hours. Elias's mind raced. He could run. He could hand over the child and survive. But then he remembered the way she had said, you came. The trust in her voice. He couldn't betray that. Prepare the defense grid, Elias ordered. We hold our ground. Hayes blinked. Sir, against who? We don't even know what they are. Then we'll find out, Elias said. When they arrive. Down in the med bay, the alien child stirred in her sleep. Her skin glowed faintly as if reacting to something unseen. Machines beeped faster. Lena watched in awe as strange symbols appeared across the scanner, similar to the alien transmission but rearranged, shifting into a pattern that made sense only for a second. Then the ship's power flickered again. From the deep of space, a shadow emerged. Massive ships, dark and silent, sliding out of hyperspace like ghosts. The Resolute's alarm screamed. Elias looked at the incoming radar feed. His heart sank. They're here. Lena's voice trembled through the comm. Captain, they've surrounded us. Elias stared into the darkness beyond the window. A cold light glimmered on the alien hulls outside. He whispered to himself, "What are you protecting, little one?" The child opened her eyes, bright blue, almost human, and whispered softly, "You shouldn't have come." Suspense ending. Outside the Resolute, the alien fleet formed a ring around the human ship. No weapons fired. No messages came. Just silence. Then one by one the alien ships powered down their lights, until the stars themselves seemed to vanish. Elias gripped the command rail. His crew looked to him in fear. And in that chilling silence, a soft child's voice echoed through every speaker on the ship. "They found me." The Resolute floated in the middle of the dark void, surrounded by an armada of alien ships. None of them moved. None fired a shot. They just stayed there, silent and watching. The stars themselves seemed to vanish behind their massive shapes. Inside the command deck, everyone was tense. The sound of the ship's systems felt too loud, too human. Captain Elias Vorn stood by the central console, eyes locked on the radar screen that showed dozens of ships forming a perfect ring around them. Commander Hayes spoke first, his voice shaking slightly. "Sir, they're not responding to hails. No signals, no movement. It's like they're waiting for something." Elias's jaw tightened. "Then we wait too. But keep shields up and engines ready." "Yes, Captain." Dr. Lena's voice came through the comm. "Elias, you need to come to Med Bay." "It's the child. Something's happening." Elias turned quickly and ran through the narrow halls, boots echoing on the metal floor. The tension followed him like a shadow. When he reached the Med Bay, the lights were flickering again. The alien child sat upright on the bed, her glowing blue eyes open wide. Machines around her beeped wildly. Strange energy readings danced across the monitors, patterns no one could understand. Lena pointed at the screen. "Look at this. Every time one of those ships sends a faint signal, her vitals spike. It's like they're connected to her." Elias approached carefully. "She's linked to them somehow." The girl turned her head slowly toward him. "They hear me," she whispered. "They always hear me." "Who are they?" Elias asked softly. "Who are you?" She looked down at her small hands. "I was made, not born. They wanted me to open doors that no one else could." Lena frowned. "What kind of doors?" The girl didn't answer. Instead, she looked at the ceiling as if listening to something far away. "They're afraid," she said. "They think you'll take me." Elias exchanged a look with Lena. "Are they protecting you?" The child shook her head slowly. "No. They're protecting themselves. Because if I wake fully," she paused, "I'll remember what they did." Back in the command deck, Hayes was trying to scan one of the nearest alien ships. "Captain," he said through the comm, "they're emitting a low-frequency signal. It's not a weapon, but it's targeting our power core. It's like they're trying to disable us." Elias's voice came back steady. "Hold position. Don't return fire unless we're attacked." "Yes, sir." "But if this continues, our systems will fail." "Then we buy time," Elias said. He turned to Lena and the child. "You said she's connected to them. Can we use that connection to talk?" Lena hesitated. "It's risky. We don't know what it'll do to her." The child looked at Elias. "I can speak to them," she said quietly. "But they won't listen to you. Only me." Elias knelt beside her. "Then tell them this, we don't want to hurt you. We just want to understand." The child nodded, then closed her eyes. The air around her shimmered faintly as if bending. The lights dimmed. Static filled the comm systems. Then a deep voice echoed through every speaker on the ship, mechanical yet full of anger. "Return the creation. She is the key to forbidden knowledge. Her existence endangers the balance." Elias stood firm. "If she's a child, she deserves protection, not fear." The voice replied, colder than before. "You do not understand, human. That child carries the memories of our empire and your species' destruction." Everyone froze. Lena whispered, "Our destruction? What does that mean?" But before Elias could answer, the ship shook violently. The alien fleet had powered up their engines, surrounding the Resolute even closer. "Shields at maximum," Hayes shouted. Energy crackled around the hull, but no attack came. Instead, the alien ships emitted a strange pulse. The stars flickered. Reality itself seemed to warp for a moment. Lena grabbed the side of the bed. "Captain." "The child, she's reacting again." The girl screamed as blue light burst from her body. Every monitor went white. Then silence. When the light faded, the Resolute was no longer surrounded. The alien ships were gone. The radar was clear. Hayes blinked in disbelief. They just vanished. Elias ran back to medbay. The child was lying motionless, her skin pale but still glowing faintly. Lena checked her pulse. "She's alive, but whatever she did, it drained her completely." Elias leaned over her. "What did you do?" The child's lips moved weakly. "I showed them a memory of who I was." "Who were you?" Elias asked. Her eyes fluttered open, soft and filled with sorrow. "Once I was their child too. But they erased me when I tried to stop them." Elias's heart tightened. Stop them from what? She reached out and touched his hand. "From what they planned to do next." Elias frowned. "What do you mean?" Her voice trembled. "They're not gone. They went ahead, to Earth." Every person on the ship froze when the word Earth left her lips. Hayes's voice broke through the calm. "Captain, long-range sensors just picked up massive FTL signatures leaving the system. Their trajectory is Sol system." Elias's blood ran cold. "They're going to Earth." The child's voice grew faint. "They think I told you too much. They'll silence everything connected to me, including your home." Elias stood tall, determination rising in his chest. "Then they'll find out humans don't scare easily." He turned toward the bridge. Hayes, plot a jump to intercept course. "We're not letting them reach Earth." Lena tried to stop him. "Elias, we can't fight an entire fleet." Elias looked at her, calm but fierce. "Maybe not. But we can warn them. And we can find out what she really is before it's too late." The child's small hand clutched his sleeve. "If you go there, they'll come for you too." Elias smiled softly. "Then we'll face them together." Suspense ending. As the Resolute's engines roared to life, the stars stretched into long streams of light. They were heading straight toward the Sol system. In the distance, beyond the blackness, dozens of alien warships moved silently toward Earth, shadows gliding through space. And in the med bay, the alien child whispered to herself, her glowing eyes dimming, "If they remember who I am, they'll burn your world to stop me." The Resolute tore through hyperspace, its engines burning brighter than ever before. Every light on the ship pulsed red as it raced toward the Sol system. Captain Elias Vorn stood at the front of the command deck, his reflection flickering against the glass as streaks of stars blurred past. The alien fleet had gone ahead, an entire armada moving silently toward Earth. No communication. No warning. Just the promise of destruction. Behind him, Commander Hayes monitored the readings. "ET, 2 hours until we reach Earth's orbit," he said, voice heavy with tension. "The alien ships will arrive in 40 minutes. They'll be there first." Elias's jaw tightened. "Then we need to make contact with Earth Command right now." Static filled the comms before a voice broke through. "This is Earth Defense Station Aegis. Captain Vorn, your signal is weak. What's your status?" Elias didn't waste time. "Multiple hostile ships inbound. Unknown species. They're not responding to any signals. They'll reach Earth soon. Prepare all planetary defenses." There was silence for a few seconds. Then the voice came back, shaken. "Copy that, Captain. We'll alert command. God help us all." Elias turned toward the medbay feed displayed on a side monitor. The alien child, still pale, still weak, lay in the medical bed surrounded by flickering instruments. Dr. Lena sat beside her, worry written all over her face. "Captain," she said through the comm, "she's waking up again. You need to hear this." Elias hurried to the medbay. The moment he entered, the child's eyes opened, glowing faint blue. Her small voice trembled as she spoke. "They're not here to destroy Earth. Not yet," she said. "They're coming to erase it." Lena frowned. "Erase it? What do you mean?" The child's gaze went distant as if she was looking through time itself. "Their empire was built on silence. On rewriting history. When a world learns something they fear, they make it vanish. They call it cleansing." Elias's stomach turned cold. "And Earth is next because of you." She nodded slowly. "Because I'm made from human memory. They used human DNA long ago. From someone they captured in the First War." Lena whispered, horrified, "Then she's part of us." "Yes," the child said softly. "And that's why they can't let me live. I carry the truth of what they did to your people 1,000 years ago." Back on the command deck, alarms screamed. Hayes shouted, "Captain, we've got visual. The alien fleet has reached Earth's orbit." Elias ran to the front window. The sight stole his breath. The alien ships hung above Earth like dark moons, vast and silent. No weapons fired, no lights flickered. Then, without a sound, glowing energy fields formed between them, vast rings of blue and white that circled the planet like a cage. Hayes looked terrified. "What are they doing?" Elias's voice was grim. "They're starting whatever that cleansing is." On the surface below, cities began to flicker. Entire regions dimmed as if power was vanishing. But it wasn't power, it was reality itself fading away. Lena's voice crackled through the comm, "Elias, the child's readings are spiking again. She's connecting to them, whether she wants to or not." In the medbay, the child was trembling. Tears ran down her cheeks. "They're using my link to activate the machine. They need my mind to finish it." Elias's voice echoed over the intercom. "Fight it, kid. You're stronger than them." She closed her eyes, whispering, "I can't stop them, but I can change what they see." The lights on the Resolute flared. Energy built up around the ship as the child's glow spread through every wire, every circuit. Outside, the alien energy rings around Earth began to distort. On the alien flagship, chaos erupted. Their communication lines filled with static. Their commanders screamed orders as control slipped away. The child's voice echoed through the entire fleet, calm and sad. "You wanted silence. But I remember everything." From orbit, Earth's surface began to shine, not fade. The alien rings broke apart, the light scattering like shattered glass. Ships exploded one by one as their systems overloaded. On the Resolute, Lena shielded her eyes. "Captain, the readings are off the charts. She's burning herself out." Elias ran to her side. "Stop. You'll kill yourself." The child smiled faintly. "If I don't, they'll erase your world. Someone has to remember." Elias gripped her hand tightly. "You're not alone. Let us help." Her eyes glowed brighter, tears glistening. "Then remember me." The explosion that followed was silent. Light flooded everything. For one blinding moment, Earth and the stars disappeared. Then, the darkness returned. The alien fleet was gone. Not a trace left. Earth floated unharmed, its blue surface shining peacefully once more. But the Resolute drifted quietly, half its systems burned out. Hayes's voice came weakly through the intercom. "Captain, they're gone. All of them. It's over." Elias didn't answer. He was in the med bay, kneeling beside the bed where the child had been. Only a faint shimmer of blue light remained. Lena whispered, her voice breaking. "She's gone?" Elias looked at the small empty space where she had been. "No," he said softly. "She's not gone. She's part of us now." Weeks later, Earth Command honored the Resolute's crew for saving humanity. But the true story, the story of the child, was never told to the public. At night, Elias would sometimes hear a faint sound through the comm systems. A soft echo. A child's laugh. Hayes once asked him, "Do you think she's really gone, Captain?" Elias smiled faintly, staring at the stars. "No. I think she's out there, watching. Making sure we never forget." Final suspenseful ending. Far beyond the edge of known space, a small signal blinked once in the void, soft and rhythmic. It was the sound of a heartbeat. And then a whisper followed, echoing through the darkness. "I remember.